Hi, welcome everybody. Hopefully you signed up for choosing a reference manager. I'm Kerrianne, a teaching and learning librarian at Bristol, along with Rosie. Um, so a little bit of a disclaimer. I have lots of windows open because I have so many reference managers to show you. Well, three. That do bear with me if it's a little bit clunky and I don't always get to the next one on time. So anyway, so the intended learning outcomes for today are that we're going to look through your needs and considerations when choosing reference manager, as well as looking at the three most common reference managers themselves. And then I've got a very quick comparison at the end, how the functions compare. Um, this is quite a short session, considering I'm trying to finish at 10:45, to have a look at your Q&A afterwards for 5 minutes. So do bear with me. I'll try and go through as much as I can do. I normally have a little bit longer, so let's just see how much I can do. And then I will signpoint you to extra resources at the end of the session. But you will have the slides, so anything that you miss, you can revisit later, and the slides also have lots of links. For example, I've got links to the University of Bristol Libraries information to the reference managers. So the three we're going to be talking about today are Endnote, that's the desktop Endnote 21, Mendeley and Zotero. If you click on one of these images, just to show you, here's the one for EndNote, and then we've also got Mendeley and Zotero here. And they tell you, if you're a University of Bristol student, they tell you how to sign up for it. But they're open to everybody. So if you're not at this university, you can still have a look for the lowdown, and they've got video tutorials on there. So that's definitely worth a look. Just going to go back. Um, so um, when talking about, when I demo these, I'm going to demo them by using four main methods of importing references. There are so many different ways to import references that it does get a bit confusing. So I'm going to try and show you what works best with each manager, because they all have their quirks. So the four main methods are importing via a DOI. I'm sure you've come across a digital object identifier. That's a unique number for the article, um, which is either via the manual entry function or Zotero's magic wand tool. I'm going to show you how to export directly from database, the Web of Science and Scopus I'm going to do in this case. Um, then I'm going to show you how to save PDFs from the provider's website and drag and drop or import into the library. And also, lastly, via web extension. So the web extensions you can download for each of these three managers are EndNote Click, Mendeley Web Importer, and Zotero Connector. They all work slightly differently, and I'll tell you further on what my own personal views are on it. But they are just my views, I should say. Um, so just to get us going, I find it really useful to have a think about what your considerations are when you're choosing a reference manager, because everyone will have different needs. Different subjects also might have different needs. So I've compiled this table, and I'm happy to send you, I've got a Word document of this so you can actually write in pen or edit it. I can send that along afterwards. It's useful to have this at the start and then revisit it at the end of this session, um, after you've learned a bit more from what I'm saying. So this is a checklist. It's things like time. Do I have enough time to learn this software? Functionality. Does it have enough customization for me? Because you might want to edit fields, edit your citations. Space. Will it have enough online space? If you wanted to share um, a library and share the PDFs, the articles with colleagues, you'd need an online space for that. So that's another consideration. So before going through all of this, have a think. And then I've got a Menti quiz. This is the only interactive bit of the session, but it's just good to get you going. And I'm going to copy and paste the link. So obviously you can do it on your phone by scanning the QR code, but also I'm just going to go to the chat and pop it in the chat as well, just in case you want that direct link. There you go. So that's in the chat. I do talk to myself when I navigate, I do warn you. So let's get back to the slides. Hopefully I'm still sharing. Yep, I'm still sharing the screen. Um, so I'm going to now go to the next page if it lets me. And I'm going to, great, we've got some stuff already. I'm just going to hide those controls. Right, great, thank you. So you're all answering already. That's fantastic. I'm going to go to this one and got a better view there. There we go. So we've got 13 people already. Thanks for this. Oh, you can't access this. Sorry. I just, let's see. I've got more people going along. Maybe try it now. Because I've got 18 people accessing it already and 19. So hopefully it's working now. So this is just, it's always interesting to see what everyone's needs are. Oh, it asked for, I'm so sorry, it asked for a University of Bristol account. Bear with me a second. Do you know what? It doesn't matter if you don't, I think it's probably too late for me to do that now. Have a think about it on your own. We've got enough responses for me to get sort of an idea. Sorry about that. Next time I will just double check that it works for everybody. But that just gives me a really nice indication. Sorry about that, everyone, but if you can't join, don't worry. You can see it on the screen, what the options were, and just give it a think for yourself, whether it's quick to learn, whether it's got enough customization for you with editing fields, whether you think you want to use a lot of PDFs and whether it's easy to import them. Look and feel like it's important to me because I'm quite a visual person that I really like to sort of have a really attractive interface and a really clear interface with lots of colors because I'm dyslexic. So having those colors really makes a difference for me as a dyslexic. Um, and then enough online storage space. That's particularly useful if you're going to do a lot of collaboration. If you're not going to collaborate with colleagues and share your library, then you can save everything on your desktop and the online storage isn't such an issue. And then directly importing from Web of Science or Scopus, if you're using one of those databases and you want to do a lot of direct importing, then that's for you. So anyway, lovely. I'd say quick to learn seems to be one of the biggest hitters at the moment, which I totally understand. Interestingly, customization, the editing of fields isn't so high. And so I'll be able to, from this information, I can sort of guide you all to the kind of managers that might be right for you, but it's definitely a personal choice. So just revisit these questions later on at sort of at the end of the session. But I'll stop that now because I need to go back to the slides. Bear with me a second. I said this about how long it takes me to get through to the slides. There we go. So hopefully, can you see the slides now? Just double checking. We've got time for the demos. I'm just double checking. Sharing is good. Brilliant. Thank you. Fantastic. Because I can't see it, you see, when I'm using Teams, I can't see it. Lovely. So a quick caveat before I do the demos. The features that I'm describing are correct from the time of writing, February, but they often create new functions or take away certain things. So do check for updates because what I say isn't gospel, I must say. Um, so let me start off with the first one, which is EndNote 21 desktop. Um, the pros of this are that it's highly customizable, which I'll show you in a minute, with many functions and custom fields. If you have a subscription, and if you're at the University of Bristol, you do, but you need to check with your librarian if you're at another university. But if you have a paid subscription, then it's worth trying because it has a very large storage space, online storage space. So this is if you did want to collaborate with colleagues and save all your PDFs online together, then you will not run out of space, unlikely to. So that's, I'd say, the most positive thing about EndNote. Um, the cons are that it does have a steeper learning curve when you're going beyond the basics. So quite a few of you said that you wanted something that was very quick and easy to use. So that's something to bear in mind. It's also not compatible with Linux. And if you were using Overleaf, any engineers, computer scientists out there, it doesn't automatically sync with Overleaf. The other thing I'm not so keen on it is that you can't import web pages. You have to actually manually enter them. Also, the EndNote Click browser, where you can import PDFs and reference information, is a bit cumbersome. It doesn't always work for me. But it's a very powerful tool, EndNote 21. And I will just show you what it looks like. So here's my EndNote 21 desktop. Um, just a quick, I'll show you, I'm going to open up the things I was going to show you. So I'm going to show you exporting directly from Web of Science. So if I go into, this is where I'm going into lots of different things, so bear with me a second. Going to go to Web of Science, trying to anyway. I just have to click on that. That's better. So Web of Science, here we are. So if you imagine that I've done a search on Web of Science and I've found this article here, The Effect of Therapy Dogs on Exam Stress and Memory, I can click on Export to EndNote Desktop. Definitely choose desktop, that's one you'll be using, and click on Export. And then it asks what you want to do with it, and I'm going to click Open, and that'll ask me which one. So again, I want EndNotes and click OK. And now you can see it's importing it for me, and there, it's popped it in there. So with direct exports from Web of Science, it doesn't always bring the PDF. So you can see here, there's no PDF icon. If I go into all references here, you can see there's no PDF here either. Occasionally it does if there's an open access journal and it's easy for the data to be transferred across, it will do. But if PDFs are your thing, then it might be better to save the PDF from the full text and then attach it within EndNote. So the other thing I'll do is go to the full text at publisher, like I mentioned. And what you can do here is click on EndNote Click. So this is what I was talking about with browser extensions. So you can see that it's highlighted #1. So that shows it's found something. So I'm going to click on EndNote Click, and it's saying that it's found the PDF, which is great. So if I export the PDF here, click on that, and I'm going to open it. Oh, this is a problem with having too many things up. Because I've opened Zotero, it doesn't like it. There we go. Here we go. You can see it says EndNote. So I'm clicking OK for EndNote. It's importing. And here you go. It's actually imported the PDF this time. So using EndNote Click, it's worked this time. I said it's glitchy, but it has actually worked. And you can see the PDFs there. If I double click on it, oh no, double clicking is when you do it on Mendeley, sorry. So this is why I find EndNote not quite so easy to use with PDFs because it hasn't opened up the PDF properly. So it's on the right-hand side, but I've got to scroll down quite a lot. So what if you want to read them side by side, you have to press this pop-out button here and then click on Edit and PDF. And then you've got the reference information on the left alongside the PDF on the right. Now, you might ask, why do you want to do that? Well, a really important reason is that any reference manager makes mistakes and you always have to check the imported information to make sure it's correct. So if you have them side by side, you can double check. So here you've got, if I scroll further down, it's a bit small there, but it'll give me all the information, volume 30, issue 4, and I'll cross-reference volume 30, issue 4. The other thing to show you is that you can edit it. So if I just click on PDF here, if you click on the sticky note, it opens up this editing bar here, and then you can click on a sticky note. It's a bit quirky. Sticky note, it's not doing it at the moment. Oh, there we go, sticky note. I tried this before and it worked, and now it doesn't. I think it's just being very slow. But yes, it should work by clicking on this sticky note here, and then I don't know why it's not. It's typical. Um, But yeah, that is the edit function within the PDF, which should work. I think it's just I've got too many things running at the moment. So I don't have too long, so I just want to quickly show you, if I go close this down, just show you a couple of nice things. I like the tag feature in EndNote 21 because you can do it by color and you can see all the tags I've created earlier. The other useful thing with EndNote 21 is that it has smart groups. So I can set a group like this one, Magic. You can tell because it's got a little looking glass icon next to it. If I right click on Magic and click on edit the group, I can show you that I've created this smart group and put different criteria in. So if my imported reference contains any of this sort of data within the reference, keywords, title, then it will automatically put it into that group for me. So I really like smart groups. That's a really good feature. Um, and just a really quick other feature, just to show you how powerful it is. Have it if it is for free for you, have a look. You can download it and just see if you like it. But it's got so many options here. And I'd say a really good one is if you go into tools and then output styles, and then you can open a style manager, which I'll bring over here. And then if you click on IEEE and then click edit, I'll bring that over as well. You can edit absolutely everything. If I click on the left-hand side, you can see punctuation, page numbers, you can change all the format. So that's why the customization is very powerful within EndNote. But I'm going to stop talking about EndNote now and get to the next stage, which is Mendeley. So Mendeley, the pros with Mendeley are that it's free, for one thing, I would say. And if you read a lot of Elsevier journals or you use the database Scopus a lot, then it has seamless exporting from there. It also allows you to drag and drop PDFs, and the reference details will automatically update in Mendeley. And it's also got a watch folder. I'll show you how that works in a second. And it syncs really well with Overleaf. The downsides are that it's got less online storage space for attachments than EndNote, 2 gigabytes, which, as I say, is fine if you are not sharing lots of PDFs with colleagues in a shared library. To me, that's the main reason why you'd need shared online space, because otherwise you can save everything to your desktop. Cons are obviously the attachment space and also the web importer. I also find that a bit glitchy, I must admit. But normally you can get over that by refreshing your browser screen and then it'll work again. Anyway, I'll get into that. Um, so I'm going to open up Mendeley. This is what Mendeley looks like. Um, very similar looking. They always have the references down the middle. If I click on one of them, it'll give me all the information on the right-hand side, and you can edit the year, month, day here, etc. To add a reference, you click on Add Reference, obviously, and if you create one manually, this is where you can put an identifier in there. Um, so I've got one I've made earlier. I'm just going to double copy my identifier. Which one do I want? I'm going to do this identifier. I'll just show you how that one works. I click on the looking glass. It's found the metadata. It's got all the information here, and I'll click Add Entry. And it should have popped to the top there. So there it is, the one about puppy handlers. You can see that under the file, it hasn't pulled the PDF across. It doesn't usually do that with the DOI. So if you want to pull across a PDF, I'll just show you how to do that. Let's get rid of that one there. And I'll get rid of that one. So, sorry, see what I mean about too many screens? So PDF, here we go. So if this puppy handler one, I wanted to import the PDF for Mendeley, this is a really nice feature. If I click on it, oh, it's arriving. It's just thinking about it. Okay, let me try a different one, and I'm going to go full text at publisher. There we go. So let's look at the effective therapy dogs. And I'm going to save it. So if you love PDFs and you're using Mendeley, I say the best thing to do is to actually save the PDF. It's just taking a while because I've got to go through lots of hoops. And I'm going to save it now. Download it. Sorry, I know it seems cumbersome, but once you're used to it, it's fine. And now I'm going to save as. And I'm going to save it in my PDF for referencing Mendeley. You can see this referencing Mendeley. So I'm going to click Save. And if I now go to Mendeley, and I'm going to click on Sync, which is down here on the left. The syncs are all in different places. Let's see if it pulls it in. Oh, it hasn't, and you know why? Because I'm going to go to Preferences. This is what I was talking about with watch folders. I think I might have the wrong watch folder. So it would automatically import if I had the right watch folder set up. But I'll show you the other thing. If you don't have a watch folder set up, I'm going to go to my PDFs, and I can't remember what that one was called, but let's just pull this one over. So I'll show you how to drag and drop. You pull it, it goes into here, and you can see it's uploading the file. And which one is this? This one is Sheldrake. There we go, and it's pulled in the PDF. So I'm dragging and dropping is the lovely feature of Mendeley, and you can also drag and drop it to any collection that you've created as well. So that's really nice. And because you've dragged and dropped the PDF, you can read the PDF here. You can click on this button, Read, and it's opened up the PDF. Oh, it's tiny. Let me just go make that a bit bigger. Oh, this is very old. That's lovely. So now you've got the PDF open. I'll show you how to edit PDFs as well while we're here, a bit like what we did with Endnote, but here you go. This is a sticky note, so I've done test. and highlighting in yellow or whatever color you want. Let's try green. So you can play around, annotate any way you like. So that's quite useful within Mendeley. Um, it has, so as well as these annotations, it also has a notebook. And the notebook is what you put on, these are general notes for the whole of your library. So, and Mendeley has a really nice feature. Um, the notes that I'd say the notes are lovely within Mendeley. Let me just go back to Mendeley here. Um, so yeah, just so a quick word, just I went a bit quickly on that, but if you wanted to set up a watch folder, you click on your personal details, change folder or add folder in my case, and I've got PDF demos here. So I'm going to save it, keep it as that one. So normally when I save something to my folder that I've specifically chosen for Mendeley, it will, every time I open Mendeley, it'll update with the ones I've saved from my folder. So that's really useful. It means you don't have to have your Mendeley Reference Manager open all the time. Um, so that's really useful. But I will also just quickly show you on Mendeley that it does have, this is what the extension, the browser extension looks like on Mendeley. So it's that red button. So if I click on it here, you've also got, when it actually decides to, here you go. And then it's showing you that you can import the PDF that way as well. And you can also choose which folder you want it to go in. So I don't really want to go, let me see, I'm going to put it in today and click on add. And so if I go now into today, which is one of my collections that I've previously created, there it is. It's gone there. And it's just taking a while to upload. Don't panic if you don't see the PDF straight away. Sometimes it just takes a few seconds to actually upload properly. So, oh, PDF failed. There you go. I said it was glitchy. Then you would need to refresh and see if it works again. So that's just an example of how it can be a bit glitchy. I'm just going to double check. Oh yeah, there's one thing I need to show you with Mendeley, because you can now compare its tagging system to Endnote and Zotero. So and again, these are all my personal preferences, so please do feel free to make up your own mind over this. But I love Mendeley for its drag and drop PDF feature and for its watch folder. It works very well with PDFs. But the one thing I'm not so keen about is that its tags don't show on the left here. So you see, these are my collections, but where are my tags? And they don't have any colors. So if you use tags to put certain things, so if you want to have themes running across all your collections, like the theme happiness, then you can still do that in Mendeley, but it's a lot harder. So to do that, you would click on filters and then on tags. And these are all the tags I've created earlier. So if I click on happiness, that shows me the articles, the references that I've tagged already with happiness. So and to get rid of that, I have to actually click on the X to get rid of it. So to me, I don't find that is the nicest way of doing it, but it's up to you. Everyone's different. I'm just going to get rid of that box. To add a tag, you can actually say, if I go here, it's all on the right hand side under info. So you have to scroll down and then you can see where it says tags. You can click on add. And then you have to just type in the tag there. That's just to show you tags. So I should go on to Zotero before I run out of time. So let me go back into the Zotero. So the lowdown on Zotero. The pros are that it's open source. So unlike Mendeley and Endnote, they're owned by very big companies. Zotero is sort of created by the people for the people, so to speak. So it means that anyone keen on developing an extra function can give that a go and they share it with the community. There's also a very active forum where sort of everyone helps with different troubleshooting issues. So that's the nice thing about Zotero. The other thing I like about it is that it has a very powerful identifier lookup. So as well as looking up DOIs, it's the only one I've found so far within the big three that looks up web page URLs. So rather than having to manually put all the web pages data in yourself, it'll do it automatically. It also takes photographs of the web pages, which is useful. It's sort of if you wanted like a timestamp or if you want to read like a BBC News article within Zotero, that's how it'll let you do that. So there's loads of lovely things. The cons are it's got even smaller online storage space for attachments than Mendeley, 300 megabytes. Also, when you're citing in Word, it's only possible on the desktop versions of Word and LibreOffice. So that's something to bear in mind if you only use the web versions of those programs. So I'm going to show you what Zotero looks like now. Um, so you can see on the right hand side here, I've already created a snapshot. You can see there's a picture of the SAG Awards there. So that's the latest one I've imported. Zotero, it looks very similar. Um, the main way to import documents is through this magic wand tool that I mentioned before. And as you can see, it's got a wide array of things you can search for. It doesn't say URL because only the web version of Zotero does the URL search. But let me just pop in the DOI from earlier and see how it handles that. So pop in a DOI. And what's it done? Impact of interactions on a puppy. Interestingly, importing via DOI has actually brought in the PDF. So that's quite nice. We've got the PDF already. So that's really good. Um, Also, I will show you how to import. Another nice thing about Zotero is that if you are using any books, actually, old-fashioned books, you can pop in the ISBN number. So um, I'm going to actually show you how to do this from scratch, actually. So I know for a fact that we have a book on fungi um, by Sheldrake. So don't worry if you're not at the University of Bristol. This is just the catalogue for the University of Bristol. It's library search. Oops, I'm sorry. Um, but this is open to everybody, so you can use this, but you'll probably want to use your own version of library search. But if most catalogues, you'll be able to find the ISBN number. So here's the book I wanted. I'm clicking on the details, and here's the ISBN number here. So if I copy that ISBN number and go into Zotero and paste, there it is. It's popped in my book. So as far as I'm aware, it's the only one that looks up ISBNs, so that's really useful. If I go to Zotero Online, I'll just show you. Um, let's go to my library. So it looks almost exactly the same, the online version, except that when I click on the magic wand, you can see it says URL. So if I go to the BBC News, choose something that isn't too depressing. Um, let's try. Oops, sorry, that wasn't intentional. BBC. news. I didn't want a video, that's the problem. Um, oh, let's get something light-hearted. So now if I double copy that URL and go into my Zotero online and click on the URL, is it this one you want? Yes, it is. I'm going to add that item and it's popped Pamela Anderson in there. So there you go. If you wanted the snapshot as well, you'd need to use the extension. So I've shown you the other two extensions for the other two managers. Here is Zotero. It's the most boring icon out of the lot of them, you can see there. But if you click on it, you can see that it's going to take a snapshot. There's a little word snapshot there. And you can choose which library. So maybe I'll put it in today as well. So that's now done. So if I click on, here we go. I've in today on my desktop, you can see that I've got the article on Pamela Anderson. And if I double click on it, this is what's useful. I can scroll all the way down and I can read the article within Zotero. So that's really nice. The other thing, let me go back to my library. I was talking about tags earlier. So I like the tags in Zotero because, like in EndNote 21, they appear on the left-hand side with nice color coding. So just to explain, the ones with the colors are the ones I've made earlier. The ones underneath are automatic. So you can ignore these if you don't find them useful. But this is just what it has automatically done for you with every reference that's come into my library. If I wanted to create a new reference, there's a new tag, sorry, I can click here. Actually, sorry, I've just got to get rid of this. Hide meeting controls. There we go. So I can let me go to Pamela. So I can, for example, add a new tag here on the right-hand side by pressing the plus button, and I'm just going to write test. Oh no, maybe I'll write Pamela. Pamela. Enter. And now if I go to my tags on the left-hand side, I can't see Pamela because there's just so many tags. Look at Pamela, I found it. And this is where if you right click, you can assign it a color and a position. So I'm going to do that and I'm going to have it in first place, set it. And I'm going to just close that down. So there we go. Now you can see that I've created a Pamela tag. So I just find that quite useful. So let me just check that I have shown you everything I needed for Zotero, because there's so much to show you there. Notes, reading, yeah, absolutely. So the last thing I'll show you is, so I've shown you the demo, just what it looks like in Word. So when you're in Word, if you've got Zotero or EndNote, they appear alongside the top. If you have Mendeley, it will appear as a plugin under references. So that's just something to note. It doesn't really make a difference to the usability of it at all. I can show you, if we have time, I can show you what it looks like in Word. But first of all, I thought I'd just bring up the quick comparisons. So this is a quick comparison that somebody else already made, which is just very basic. And it shows you the difference in storage mostly. But I do have this very complicated comparison table that I created recently. I don't expect you to read all this now. It's too much information, but this is in the slides that you can take away and sort of use it alongside your considerations for what you need out of a reference manager. Talking of which, this is revisiting sort of the considerations. So have a think about what you've seen so far and sort of which ones might match up with your needs. So next steps are after this session, have try and fill out the considerations checklist. Think about which days, if you use Scopus or Web of Science. I don't know if I forgot to say, but Scopus works really well with Mendeley. Web of Science works really well with Endnote. So if you're using one of those a lot, you might want to think about that. Also, explore the different ways to collect your references and work out the best way for you. So, for example, if you download a lot of PDFs and you like saving lots of PDFs to a folder, then you might like to set up a watch folder with Mendeley. But if you like the tags that are in Zotero, then that also has a good way of importing PDFs. It's just different. You don't drag and drop them. So yeah. This is a further support slide. So although some of this links to the University of Bristol web pages, they're all open to everybody, so you can all have a look at that. The University of Bristol pays for Cite Them Right. Check with your own subject librarian at your institution if they also pay for Cite Them Right. It's incredibly useful. It shows you how to cite a vodcast or a podcast or anything in whichever citation style you need. So that's the last slide. So now let me look at the time. I'm hoping it's quarter two on the dot. So there you go. I'm sorry that was such a speedy run through. But it's a lot to get through in that time. But I am open to questions now. So I'll just have a quick look at the questions. I've got so many slides up. Right, here we go. I've got back to, so yeah, Jonathan, do feel free to chip in, but I'm also going to open the Q&A to have a look at the questions. So we've got one question. How can we connect the papers after we've referenced them? Okay, so I will show you Word. And then the other ones on the on-off online versions of Zotero sync together. So you can add URLs using, yes, they do. They do. So I'll answer that one quickly because that's a very quick one to answer. So someone has asked with Zotero, because the online version does the URL, has this magic wand with the URL. If you use a URL, like for example, you put that in, will it then sync with Zotero desktop? And the answer is yes. Everything syncs. So then if I click on this is the desktop, there's a little sync button. You can see where my icon is here, and that syncs. So it's brought it all across. You can see that's why I've got so many Pamela Andersons. The only thing I'd say regarding that is that if you want the snapshot, then use these Zotero connector from your web browser instead. Can you connect a watch folder to your OneDrive? Yes, you can. Yes, that's worked for me as long as it's Mendeley. Zotero doesn't have watch folders. I will just go back to the question about connecting. So let me just I'm going to quickly bring Word over. So this is a Word document that I've had up to use for this session. So if you download Zotero or Endnote, when you open up Word again, they will automatically appear here. With Mendeley, you need to import the file, get add-ons, and then you need to find Mendeley from the add-ins. But all that information should be on the slides. So, for example, if I go to references, there's Mendeley site. I don't have much time to go into it, but I will just show you what they look like. So if I put my cursor there, let's just do Mendeley first of all. It'll get you to sign in first of all. Oh, do you know, I won't do that because that'll take ages to sign in. Let's go to, oh, it's done it. Okay, it has signed in. So look, I can click insert citation and it's added it there. And then if I wanted a bibliography, I'm just going to add my bibliography here. Insert bibliography. continue, and there you go, it's popped it in there. So that's how it works in Word. And then you can change your citation settings and change the style. For example, here I've changed it to Harvard, update, and you can see it's changed in the document. Zotero and Zotero works in a very similar way. If I click on, I'm probably going to get into trouble with this document by doing too many, but I can click Add Edit Citation. I'm going to use Oscola. Okay. And then this is what Zotero looks like. And then I can click on Pamela Anderson and then click enter. And then that's shown as a number one. And then I would have to, and then it's got document preferences. So hopefully that's what it looks like. So I will just, I've got 1 more minute. So let me just see whether there are any other questions. If you have PDF saved on your desktop with notes highlights already on, would this come with the document if you then imported it? Good question. You can, it depends which reference manager you're talking about there. If you make notes to your PDFs, will those notes be saved? It depends. In Endnote, it asks you if you want to save them before you close out of it. If you say yes, then the next time you open the PDF, it'll show, and then you can always export that PDF with the changes to another folder or to somewhere else. I think that is the same for Zotero and Mendeley. I think as long as all of them have an option to do file save as when you're in, let me just, so if I go to the PDF, oh dear. So I'm in here, I've made some notes, and then there'll be a file save as option. And then you can save this PDF somewhere, and that will, I've tested it out and it does work. That saves all your edits, your highlights and stuff like that. If you change your mind about a reference manager, yes. If you change your mind and want to move the whole of your library over to somewhere else, yes, you can definitely do that. They all support that. There's in all of them, you've got file, import, and then you can import the whole of your library. For example, here, this one imports, for example, from Mendeley online, or if it's from Endnote, then you just export Endnote via this RIS file, and then it brings them all in. So yes, that's pretty easy to do. So no, definitely you would not have to remove them all manually. Please, Jonathan, tell me if I need to stop, otherwise I'll carry on answering the
No,
questions.
do carry on, please, Karen.
Okay.
This has been
All
very
right.
helpful. So
All right. No.
let's aim for noon, I suppose. So no,
Okay, that's fine. Lovely. Okay, so I'll do the next question. After everything is uploaded into one of the reference managers, is there an option where you can just click on something and then it will write all the references for you at the end of the paper you are writing? When you say uploaded, is there an option where you just click on something that will write all the references for you at the end of the paper? Um, well, the
It's
way it, oh, sorry,
okay.
carry on.
It's okay. You answered my question with what you just demonstrated a moment ago.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks for letting me know.
Okay.
That's fantastic. Okay, lovely. Thank you. Um, with Zotero, how it works if you want to combine two Word files. Not sure how to combine the references. Yeah, that is a bit detailed. I do know that it does that. I can always get some instructions on how to do that and send it with the follow-up. Because I must admit, you can probably tell by the amount of time I spent on it, EndNote is not my, what do you call it? Um, I work more with, my colleagues work with EndNote and I work more with Mendeley and Zotero. So I don't know all of its options. I do know it's got a tool here, um, format paper tool, and I think it's to do with the format paper tool. But yeah, I can happily send you some more information as we go. Um, what's the tech support like for each of these? I had an issue with Mendeley failing to add the citation. Okay, can librarians generally help? Okay, yeah. I would say with Zotero, the tech support really is because it's open source, it's amazing. Oh, sorry, Zotero, not Endnote, I was wondering about. Okay, Zotero. Zoe, I'll get back to you on that. So the tech support, yeah, the great thing about Zotero is that it's open source. So if there isn't a function for something, you can ask someone to create it. If you're not quite sure how to do something, there'll be a thread on how to do it. Um, Mendeley is slightly different. It does have a forum, but it's not because it's not open source, it's not so useful in that sense. Librarians can definitely help. That's what a lot of the librarians at the University of Bristol do, is that if you have an issue with something failing lots of times, then we can look at what the problem is. I don't know whether you're a University of Bristol student or not, but I do have, this is for Mendeley, I do have a tips and tricks for Mendeley, and it's a bunch of slides I'm happy to send as well. And there are a bunch of slides that talk about sort of what to do over some sort of troubleshooting issues. So librarians, when we find a problem that's happening with Mendeley or Zotero or whatever, we make a note and put it in those slides. So yeah, I can easily do that, happily do that. Um, so yeah, I would say the tech support, if your university has paid for EndNote, I would say the technical support on that is going to be better because it's a paid service. We've actually got representatives there. Mendeley, probably not so much because it's free. But yeah, that's my experience. Yeah, are there any other questions? There were lots, and I think they've been marked as answered. So I will just double check, Jonathan. Is there anything else I need to answer?
Not
I
that
think is that
so there is a
all
question from
okay?
someone from
Yeah,
so you're not perhaps the best person to ask, but
right.
looking to learn a little bit more about NVivo as well.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. And Vivo, I've only just learned that I feel like I'm promoting Zotero here, and I'm honestly not. It's just because it's open source, it has a few more options. So Envivo does have an option to export to Zotero. And I would say if you are using Envivo, that's got the best links between the two. Um, Again, I can make a note of this. I'm really happy to send over a load of information to you all, which is partly on Mendeley troubleshooting. I'm writing this down. Um, and then the other thing would be on what I've learnt about with NVivo, which isn't a huge amount because it's not my speciality. Rosie, my colleague, knows a lot more about NVivo, but I do have some information on how NVivo links with Zotero. So I'm very happy to send that if that's helpful.
I think that is it.
Okay.
So I think I will stop the recording
Okay.
now.